Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Unlimited Railworks, Gamesline's anime podcast. I am your host Rose, and we got everyone here because we're all trying to talk about freaking Utena, because that's what happens. Everyone shows up for fucking Utena. It's a classic. But those people who have showed up for me are, we got John.
Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star.
That was all I knew about this movie for the longest time. I watched it a long time ago, but I mean, like, I just saw Tumblr posts about the cars all the time. I get it. Don't get me wrong.
No, absolutely. I mean, I just wanted to sing that tune a little bit, and the thing is that is the thing that I knew about it as well, and I was prepared for it to just be like insane bullshit, and we'll get to that because I don't want to spoil the whole conversation, but no, actually, it kind of worked.
Yeah. You know who else kind of worked? Maverick, who watched all of Utena alongside this movie.
Kogai. This dipshit spent 48 hours taking an emotionally draining show.
They gave people like 2 years for that back in the day. It's what, 36 episodes or something?
Almost 40. Yes.
39.
Yes.
Plus movie, so.
Well.
Plus movie.
Plus movie. That's still quite a lot, and we'll get to hear your whole insane, I don't even know, cataloging of everything soon enough. But Elvie is also here. Hi, Elvie.
Hello.
Glad to. I don't think you weren't here last time, so glad to
No,
have
I wasn't.
you back.
I was in the woods. Yeah.
You were in the woods. That's right. I was like, I remember when you were in the woods. And I was like, I don't know if she means the real woods or if she means like the metaphorical woods.
Oh,
like
this
slight,
movie.
Yeah, like this movie. Right. This movie. Yeah, that's true. I'll introduce this movie. This is the Adolescence of Utena, which is from 1999, which is, I think, just like a year after Utena ended, basically. And it's directed by Ikuhara, of course. That's Kunihiko Ikuhara, who we know from many shows that we've watched on here, actually, haven't we? I feel like we watched Sarin Zanmai, and then we watched
Yurikuma.
Yurikuma.
Yeah,
that's what we watched.
Yurikuma.
Right? Yeah.
We watched Stars on My.
We didn't watch Penguin Drum.
Not yet.
I imagine that in my head. Well, I'm sure we'll get there. But yeah, it's it's a sort of, I guess you would say sequel, right? It's kind of a sequel, but it's also like considered by them to be a sort of standalone film in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically just like a sort of like not redo, but like, retelling in a lot of different ways some aspects of the original Utena series and taking it in a newer direction.
It's like the Evangelion rebuilds before the Evangelion rebuilds.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good comparison point. It's very much like that, of just taking, the core elements and then making something new out of it. Mm-hmm. Because of course you've seen Utena, so what's the point in just telling it again? And they really tell it in a bunch of different ways. Elvie, you picked this movie. So
I did.
I just wanted to hear, what did you think about? You've seen this before, right? I think
I have seen it before. I've seen it multiple times. Yeah, and I think this is one of those weird key points in my relationship with anime, where I first saw this movie when my family had Comcast.
Man.
And when you had Comcast, you might have had also, this is around 2000s,
the anime
Comcast
channel,
exists.
on-demand thing?
Yeah, you could buy the Anime Network channel, I don't think was it called the Anime Network? I think it was called the Anime Network. But yeah, this was before Xfinity and everything. This was like Comcast. It was just Comcast, and they had like a weird baked in like on demand service that came with the standard package, and part of that was like weird like selections. It wasn't live TV, it wasn't live networks, but it was like weird random selections of like movies and all that.
It was like 2D.
And they had an anime section, and the anime that was on there made no sense in terms of like why they were there, or like were they from the same distributor at that point in time, like what was going on there. A lot of them were under Central Park Media, which now no longer exists. A lot of those anime like are now under like Crunchyroll, or like got past the. I don't know. It's all
because they had like
dispersed.
I remember they had like Slayers on there. They had
Slayer. They had a hodgepodge of like
Crisis. Like
they had Azumanga Daioh. They had Azumanga Daioh. They had like Holic. They had, Clamps Holic. Yeah. They had a lot of adult stuff. That was also my first exposure to Elfen Lied. So Utena was kind of roughly around that, like, same. So it's just a bunch of shit that it made no sense as to why they were there. It was like random OVAs, so like Utena to an extent, and series that were never, and they were also all out there once. Sometimes the selection changed as time went on by. So you actually legitimately had like maybe the first 3 episodes of Holic on there, but then like the next week it's episodes 4 to 5, but you can't go back and watch episodes 1 to 3 because they just removed. Like there was some weird space limitation issue, I guess, or also they were trying to intentionally recreate like the live network channel experience by doing that. But yeah, that was kind of like where I got introduced to like a lot of like quote unquote more mature anime beyond like through Adult Swim, through like Toonami and all that,
because
beyond
everything else
kids.
is just shown in like at the most you get Ultimate Muscle in terms of genre diversity or something.
So Utena was on there, which is interesting because the series was not under, which again is like almost 40 episodes. So I saw the movie first before I saw the series.
Oh man.
And of course, it's also important to note there is a manga, which in itself is very different from both the series and movie. So I'm not that familiar actually with. I know for a fact that Ikuhara specifically created a group just to make Utena. Like him and his other like creative anime industry pals. Chiho Saito's one person, for example. Just specifically for Utena. And I don't know if intentionally they did want to kind of make it like a multimedia franchise. But yeah, you had the series, you had the manga, and then the movie to cap it off. And that was that for like Utena. And they all were very intentionally different from each other. And as you were just like alluding to, like I guess as a way to just use these parts and props and just kind of repurpose them to explore the same themes, but in just a different way. Utena is hard to explain, because how do you explain Utena, right? The premise is this, this girl Utena, the titular character, is going to a school. She's going to this like really crazy, like prestigious like academy, but then here on out, like she ends up meeting this girl, and she ends up crossing paths with this girl, Anthe, who seems to be in this weird competition, and this is me like explaining it at a very cursory glance. Like she seems to be in this weird competition that people are fighting over, and like literal duels with swords and everything, because everyone's trying to seek the possession and like this weird eluded power. At this point in time, you're not sure like is this like a literal magic and all that, for the Rose Bride, which they use to describe Anthe. So like off the bat, even like if you're gonna watch the series too, like it kind of starts off with that premise from the get-go, and there's like a lot of very clear allegorical references and very intentional and purposeful like symbology around fairy tales, and the idea of like a princess being saved by a prince, and how Utena is kind of like this this female character who fantasize about being saved by a prince, in all incarnations of her, across manga, film, movie, and in one way or another, she ends up subverting that trope and be kind of has to save Anthe, quote unquote, right? And you know, it's a little more complicated than that. There's like more layers to that. But it is a beautiful series. It is strange. It's surreal, right? We like, it's hard. It really is hard to explain it beyond its premise that it is a girl going to school and then she's caught in this weird tournament over this other girl. Because through and through, all the students involved in it, including herself, like have a lot to unpack in regards to, why are they doing this? You know, right? Is there a literal magical power that is being sought after, or is there like something more to it, like, you know, like this, you know, kind of like this gross toxic possession of Anthe, right? And it's very clear that it's about, you know, it's about relationships, it's about sexuality, it's about growing up. The movie in itself, as you know, as self-contained, kind of just jumps into this like more esoteric thing around around that magic idea, I think, and I think gets a little more into the very, I guess, brutal and a little more triggering aspect around the ideas and themes around relationships, especially when it turns out, like, you know, the prince is not a good person. You know, maybe the prince is actually the person who is hurting the princess, right? You know, which I do apologize for anyone listening. Like, yeah, the you know, Utena as a whole, right, like has a lot of triggering topics, like especially around things like sexual assault, right, and like toxic relationships and all that. You know, there's things, there's stuff around incest, right, and again, yeah, you know, there's like preteen me, right, watching this on Comcast On Demand, right. Yeah. Like, wait, what is happening? You know, like, what is happening? And I think, like, you know, when you watch this for the first time, you're like, wait, what? You know, there's a campiness to it, right? There's like a really like over exaggerated like shoujo like s style, especially around that point in time. That style is coming from. You know, it's important again to like acknowledge to like Ikuhara and like his colleagues who worked on Utena. We're colleagues on Sailor Moon first, you know. I there, and it's clear that's where those pieces of inspiration, especially aesthetically, come from. And Ikuhara also worked, you know, Ikuhara specifically worked on the Sailor Moon R movie, which is where with the gay alien. I don't know. I'm sorry, if you know, you know. But like, there's a lot of like that, like, I think like hyper feminine aesthetics that is brought onto Utena in a way to really, I think, I think really just to subvert, like, I guess, like, those typical ideas of, like, what a damsel in distress is, and I think that's really cool. You know, I guess just to focus on the movie specifically, you know, Utena is, like, framed as having, like, this former lover herself, Toga, which, again, who's a very different person in the series, you know, and it's interesting to place her in this position of, like, learning how to move on from a man in, like, multiple ways, you know, like, her fantasy of, like, wanting to be saved by a prince as a little girl, to now she's kind of this, like, quote-unquote savior of a woman, right, from a similar, you know, predicament, seeing her kind of, like, in this, like, somewhere in prison situation. And yeah, I don't know, it's, like, again, very hard to describe, because it's one of those things where you kind of have to see it, especially in the way how Utena is a very artistic, like, series, and I think there's, like, a lot of very wild visuals in regards to, you know, like, again, the infamous car scene. Like, you know, I don't know how to explain that, honestly, to be quite honest. But it's for sure something, you know, yeah.
Sometimes you just accelerate.
Sometimes you just accelerate, and I don't know. I think a lot about, like, you know, yeah, if you do have access to a car, that is, like, your way to freedom, right? Like, that. And I guess that's just what they thought of, right? But yeah, long story short, like, you know, towards the end of the movie, you know, the two women figure out a way to, like, escape the school. Again, the school kind of, like, not being literally a school, but kind of, like, just a very obvious, like, prison metaphor, prison-like symbol. You know, become car, escape the chains of your imprisonment, right? That's kind of how the film ends, right? But, you know, like, if you're someone who's, like, been curious about, like, Utena itself, I do, again, like, kind of like support maybe actually checking out the movie. Like, you know, I kind of like did it. I don't know like how I did it, and then you end up running into the series like after and realizing like, oh, okay, that's awesome. You know, I feel like too, like, going to the movie first and watching the series and watching the movie again kind of like made me like appreciate it more in a way that I that I think I definitely did not when I first saw it. And it was just like, oh, that's wild, that's crazy. You know, at that point in time too, I was very familiar with like shoujo themes and like already seen like a lot of gay themes that very explicitly so like explored in different manga I read at that point in time. So it wasn't like shocking. It wasn't like weird to me. But for sure, definitely, I think one of the weirdest things I seen at the point in time I did. And yeah, I don't know, just like kind of my preface of it. I think for me, like, I think a lot about the legacy of the series specifically. And it's weird through lines throughout. I think some of the big anime that we know of, you know, that is revered. I think it's important to also acknowledge that, like both Utena's voice actresses unfortunately passed, like, are no longer with us. Tomoko Kawakami and Rachel Lillis, who unfortunately also passed away recently, both her Japanese and English VA respectively. And like thinking about the careers of those two like talented women, like it's so interesting how they kind of like worked at points in life in anime that were very impactful to certain generations. You know, thinking about the through lines with Tomoko Kawakami. Like, there's like a very specific generation of like anime voice actors that all worked on Sergeant Frog, and then, like, I feel like if we have to think about something like Sergeant Frog and all the crazy like comedy anime at that point in time, like Panty Punny Dash, Slayers. Like, you know, again, Slayers was mentioned, right, in regards to like what was on Comcast On Demand. Like, there's like all this like through lines of like all these like seiyuu and English dub actors that worked on the same things, and it's interesting how like that reach has, you know, like expanded, and, you know, like thankful for their voice talents and what they were able to achieve when they were alive, you know, and it's a shame. But, you know, we have like an excellent character as a result. I know some other like weird things in regards to, I think, Gundam actually being very instrumental to, I think, Utena. Like, Anthe is very much inspired by Lala, from my understanding, and specifically around, like, I guess the original like Gundam 78 series' exploration of new types when new types were introduced for the first time. So a lot of that stuff, for anyone who's seen those, like, if you watch Utena, it's like, oh, that's weird, that's crazy, but that makes a lot of sense. And unmistakably so, you know, like, there is like a lot of this exploration of religion and like what seems to be, you know, like threads of Buddhism and Hinduism, and, you know, unfortunately, I would also acknowledge there is that like Orientalist aspect as to why like Anthe and some other characters are clearly South Asian, you know, which again influenced by Lala from Gundam. But we kind of see that constantly happen in anime after that. I feel like, with Lala being kind of that representation in Anthe then after, so many anime keeps repeating that trope, which again I do agree is problematic. But we do see it again in like recent anime, like Sunny Boy. There's like a character, he is clearly meant to be Indian, like South Asian. And then, you know, worthy of mentioning, because I think without Utena, I don't think this series would have existed, much to our bane, which is Wonder Egg Priority. And, you know, a character there who is also South Asian, and I would not be surprised is inspired by Anthe, you know, and so forth. So, yeah, I don't know. There's just like a lot in regards to, I think, the weird touch points of like impact I think this series has had, in not like a weird holistic way, but in just tiny ways. I also think jokes about like Witch from Mercury being compared to Utena, and I'm like, I get it. It is kind of like, if you think about it, it's like, okay, so Gundam influenced Utena, and then Utena kind of in turn influenced Gundam again in regards to the whole like marriage
the cycle
and fighting over a bride thing. Yeah, like I do wonder. I don't know if that they've talked about that, but that's so interesting. Cyclical as it is. And yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of like me mouthing off of it. I will say it says a lot about series if they only stuck with one theme song, because that theme song fucking rules. Yeah. It is so good. Rondo Revolution, let's go. And just stuck with it around 40 plus episodes and across media. Yep.
I can't believe they used it so sparingly in the movie. I feel like they could have gone
Yeah,
off
very
even
sparingly.
harder.
Like a little tease, yeah.
I really enjoyed watching it again. I had seen it forever ago.
Yeah.
I saw it also before I saw the show.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I will tell you this: it did not. My only problem comparing the movie to the show is that I think the movie fed into a narrative I had from seeing a lot of Tumblr posts where people were very pretentious about Utena for a really long time,
Right.
and thinking that the show was very pretentious. And I do not think that show is very pretentious at all. I think it's like
Yeah, it's very
it has like very high-minded ideas about what it wants to talk about and like discuss for sure, absolutely. But it is also the show where, you know, she boxes with a kangaroo
Yeah.
and turns into a cow.
There's more goofy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I really like that about the show. But it also means like I like that the show is like that. It also, after watching the show, I think I like that the movie is like this. I think it's really cool. It's very similar to how I feel about Rebellion for Madoka, where it's like it's a really good follow-up sequel thing, kind of, because it's like you have this movie where you have Anthe being a lot more assertive in wake of the original series and like really like portraying herself as more of a distinctive character despite being still within this role, kind of. And just like hitting the bases of and vibes of the main core story really fast makes for a fascinating experience, I think, just between like just especially in the English dub. I watched it originally in the Japanese dub, and then I watched this dub because I watched the show dubbed, and I think like it has such the way that they talk and the way that it's constantly just jumping to the next thing is like entrancing. It's like, it's crazy. And you couple that with like the really fantastic animation that it has throughout this film, and all the most 1999 music of all time. I really like how all of the environments are just constantly like dioramas folding in on themselves. Like obviously that's in the show, but even here with the budget they have, they're going fucking crazy, and they're doing all their fucking 3D animation for the fucking cameras coming out and everything.
That makes me wonder, like, did this have any influence on like Shaft, like, you know, Studio Shaft's like house style, which is that thing. Like that, you know, again, that's like another mark of like how much did this influence a lot of like modern anime in a way that you don't realize or like think about initially, like in both style and just like some of the tropes they do explore. I mean, it's I imagine was not even touched that. It has
the lesbian kiss and everything.
It sure does. Yeah, they go for it too. They don't. Yeah. They aren't cowardice about it. They do it multiple times.
That's true. Yeah.
Somehow today that's like harder. I don't understand.
Well, I think we're coming around right now, but I would say like for the last like 15 years, absolutely it felt harder for some reason.
Like something happened where they're like, no, we can't have these girls kissing anymore. I'm like, no, stop.
But Maverick, you watched a little more than the movie, but I wanted to start. So I don't know if you want to start with your movie talk or if you want to, you know, work up to it. It's up to you. You're the. I don't even know what to call you. The brave soul, the wary warrior.
Dog, I don't know how you could watch this movie before you watch the show.
I don't know.
That is insane to me.
Both of us did
that
it.
Is John too.
Oh, John! Wait, John, really?
I've only seen the movie so far. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that is wild to me. Like, not because I don't think the movie works as a standalone,
but it's such a companion piece.
It is very much a companion piece. I was talking about how... So, the only other thing that I had engaged with in Utena was, like, a podcast that I listened to a decade ago, where the folks engaging with this at the time in their like early 20s, late teens, just getting into like the Tumblr fandom of it all, were like agonizing over the like thematic density of this stuff. And like, I don't know, I'm glad that I got to it later in life, I think, because of the fact that like it is dense, but not in a way that feels like unobtainable. But again, like so much of that initial like, you know, exposure as a young person, sort of like, for some people that are able to actually revisit things and go and do a rewatch of stuff, I am not that kind of a person typically. But this feels like something where, yeah, no, there's probably more stuff to get in successive engagements. All that to say that, I mean, like, I think one piece that feels so necessary to, like, understanding the movie, again, like, it works as a companion piece. I have a friend who said it best, like, it's sort of like, it's a coda of the themes that are, like, starting in the show, that start in the manga. Like, Utena in itself being this contained multimedia focus, this multimedia exploration of, you know, femininity, patriarchal expectations, gender, sexuality, to have this sort of be the capstone of all that is really engaging and really fun, but becomes even more enticing with the additional, like, longer form components, since you need to have something that is, like, digestible in, like, an hour and a half, which is nuts to realize that it's only, like, 90 minutes. But, no, I mean, God. One thing that I think was curious was how the... what is it? The levity in the film, in terms of wanting to focus more so on Anthe and Utena as people kind of like missing each other until they can find the right moments to really like reconnect. That I feel is easier to recognize when you get away from, or like you just are fresh out of the 39 episodes of hell torture that is, well, more specifically, the 13 to 14 episodes of hell torture that are Anthe and Utena having to deal with Akio.
The devil himself.
Because the devil himself, oh my god, I made the horrible choice of ending one of my watches on episode 33. The clip show, the last clip show, for those who have seen already.
I always think how Akio is like, you think Toga's bad, and then it's like, well,
no, that's the whole thing. And to sort of discuss, narratively speaking, what the whole premise of Utena is, if you were somebody who was like still at this point of like, you know, never having engaged with anything out of this show. It can still happen. I was one of those people. So, the main conceit, as I think we have like talked about already, you know, Utena having to like engage with this idea of nobility, of becoming a prince, of assuming a role in her best fashion in order to provide support for others. And one of the things that comes up along the way is Anthe and this whole role that she has of being the Rose Bride. Not much is described on what like that focus actually is, but one of the big pieces is that, you know, the other characters that we spend a lot of time with, the duelists in the show, who show up here as well in the narrative, all have purposes for doing a lot of this. You Saionji just very, like, abject obsession and want of power. Miki not really caring as much, but more so having this, like, innate affection that doesn't really show off in the film, but, recognizing that he is somebody that really, like, understands his role as supporting other folks, being that second hand to, like, Juri in the movie versus being sort of like a tertiary character in the rest of the show. Juri herself also being around in a way that, like, is this strong figure, sort of a foil to Una at times because of how, like, forthright she can be, but never really needing the promises of, like, the Rose Bride in order to have that, like, autonomy. And then, yeah, like, as we talked about, like, Toga is maybe, like, the closest to feeling like Akio, but because of his own hang-ups in the film, providing him this backstory of also being a victim of sexual assault, like, adding a layer of humanity that I think is still there in the show, but, like, he is a tragic figure much more so in the film, and really posits, like, this opportunity for Utena to, like, resolve feelings before ultimately, like, pursuing and continuing to be support for Anthe. It's a lot of, like, again, a lot of symbolism thrown in to get to these points, but, like, it never feels like these are characters that are, like, out of the depth of what they typically are. Again, the reality of it is, you have so much less time to work with these characters. What is the best way to highlight, like, the key pieces of who they are and their identities? That said, no Nanami speaking roles, so this is actually a 2 out of 10 film.
I agree.
They do outright just have no character. Some characters they just, like, nope, they don't exist here.
Nanami would steal the show.
For fucking
Wild.
Shiori.
Yep. That's a different movie.
Shiori has to be there to Aura farm.
Yeah.
Nanami would, again, take everything if she was there. So, but it is weird. I think it's especially weird how I feel like Juri has the least in that movie of the of the main duelists.
I mean, again, it's like people are always quick to talk about the second saga of the show as, like, the weakest part, but then that's also where you have the best characterization of Juri because of the fact that, like, 2 of the people that she is having to, like, grapple her identity with show up in that one. And it's not really there in the film, but I mean, I don't judge them for, like, having to do so much reduction. I feel like in a world where Ikuhara maybe had more say, he probably would have said fuck it and just had it be the Anthe and Utena movie.
I have to say that I keep thinking about the soundtrack, and I keep thinking about it specifically because it's making me think of how much we have lost from the Sega Dreamcast, which is what I associate with that style of music more than anything. I really like how it almost makes this, like, I think a lot of this movie is in the abstract, right? Like, that's the whole thing. Yeah. It's very surrealist work. But, like, the thing that I really like about it is how it's just, like, not only are they flexing their animation skills, but they're, like, creating the great music to go along to it, which I think something the show struggled with. Maybe you can answer me a little better with this, Maverick, but in my memory, they have great songs in Utena, but it's kind of, like, the same few songs.
It can be very repetitive, but, like, again,
it's good. Don't get me wrong.
No, yeah, that, like, I can't even speak in, like, an authentic way, where if I was watching this for 39 weeks in a row, maybe a different vibe. But, like, shotgunning, like, 15 hours in the span of like 2 days, like, can feel repetitive, but it never felt like cloying, or it never felt like draining.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have a very like R&B heavy, like, backbone, that is something that I think is like manageable because of how, like, I don't know, like my immediate thing was, oh, as soon as we hit the second arc, you leaned more into some of the like rock opera elements, and the original sort of like backbeat for, you know, Anthe relinquishing the sword wasn't there anymore. And I'm like, oh no, I really liked that one. It was simple, but like,
it's really good,
really chill. Yeah.
But then, like, I think like the movie, it feels like such a piece. The whole thing. I don't know how to put it. Like the way that the music is constantly just flowing into a new song. It's like almost a musical. I feel like in a lot of ways. That's just a gorgeous.
This is one of those. This is one of those instances where, like, the way that people talk about Fooly Cooly as a collection of like music videos for pillow songs, Adolescence of Utena definitely works as a showcase of like visual language for like music, and like how to, like, it gives you a visual for how do I like track a song, what makes it exciting, what makes it worthwhile, what makes it like really hit at moments, for someone that maybe struggles with that on the visual or like on the auditory level.
Which I think like speaks to it also, like, you know, again, its own influences through the Takarazuka, you know, and a lot of like in itself, like again, like very obviously Rose of Versailles, you know, Oscar as a character, you know, like, which I realized too, like they had that movie remake recently. I don't know if that's good. Who's to say?
Do you know why I want to watch that?
Yeah. What's that?
It has a Sawano soundtrack.
Oh.
And that makes me like mesmerized by that concept. Wow.
Interesting.
I'm just thinking of hype moments in Aura for the most mundane things, and I'm kind of like, all right.
Thinking of like the Marie Antoinette movie directed by Sofia Coppola, where it had like pop music.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like the same thing, right? Yeah.
Oh my god, maybe they might be doing that. Okay, sure.
I just saw a scene where they were fencing, and it was like dun 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 dun. I was like, oh man.
Shit. Okay, I'm looking on the soundtrack page for the Rose of Versailles movie. I mean, I can't tell from these titles, but
they're probably all insane Sawano titles. Like
there's one called "Believe in My Way," which I feel like would soul to soul. Okay.
I keep thinking about it and I keep forgetting that it exists. But I when I watched the trailer, I was like taken the fuck out because it was just like the Sawano kill ass like riff, and then it's like she's like there at a ball party talking to her in an alleyway, and it's like, okay,
and it's just playing.
It's kind of
I don't even know how, like, is this like, I have many questions about this movie now. Sidetrack. Is this the full story, or is it like the first half? I wonder.
I don't know. I do not know. I think it might be the first half.
No indication of it. But yeah, like Utena has like a lot of like theatrics very clearly too, in like one way or another, that I think like adds to that, and I guess like to just that sheer understanding of like the idea. I you know, like if you're just going back to the conversation of like kind of like the movie not feeling real, it's like in the abstract, it does feel like an intentional dream, right? Like if one is to interpret the movie's placement in relation to the series and other like pieces of media in Utena, like it could be a dream of a character, or it could be, you know, like, and I do like how it kind of floats in that abstract where like it doesn't necessarily define itself in any sort of timeline. It just kind of is, right? As we were saying.
Yeah.
And I think like too, like I guess thinking about the meta of like theater and all that. You know, you have these people playing these same roles all the time, you know, but they're still following a script, but then they're always interpreting it a little bit differently. And I think that's like kind of cool and like interesting if that was like something they thought of in so to speak, like if this is kind of like, again, like a play and they have these characters, but you're just repurposing them in different ways every time. The set dressing's changing, the costumes are changing, but we're still exploring the same things, even though it's a different cast of people playing them and reinterpreting them in a different way.
Yeah, I think one thing that strikes me is the fact that in the original show, like one of the key things as well is sort of the experience of moving through abuse and learning how to like regain power from an abusive situation, which does happen at the end. But in this film, like again, it's so interesting to see this iteration of Akio in that like he is powerless. He is like shown to have some level of control or some level of like access, but especially once in the film, like, you know, the secret is revealed of like, oh, he's been like dead this whole time because, you know, Anthe might have like poisoned his drink or like something had happened in that initial dynamic. Having some space away from that, I do read that like in sort of this idea that Anthe, if she is, you know, this ethereal being, having this last scenario to be like, okay, if I can say, you know, this power no longer like affects me, of the rest of the movies, her being able to be like, okay, I can do this. I can keep doing, like, the race at the end is so like powerful because of the fact that it's Anthe telling herself, really, like, I can have a happy life and I can like be with people that I want to be, which the show really is heartbreaking but realistic in the way that that is still a struggle to get to. The movie, again, I don't call it a direct sequel, but it's like, okay, we've retread some of these themes and now we can really lean into that because it isn't just a ending that we like decided to like put in a nice bow. Again, it's why I find it kind of wild to think about the show and movie as separate, if only because
yeah,
again, it's like I don't want to say it's like the true ending. I definitely wouldn't like say that, but it's like, oh, this might feel a little glib or a little, you know, easy to wrap things up, but it's because of the fact so much of the work was done in that like 39 episode stretch.
Yeah.
And I get why they wouldn't want to just be like, well, do we have to retread all of this? No, it's take the key points, take the things that make the most sense to reinterpret, and then lean into, again, this overall thesis in a way that feels fresh, dynamic, and is like iterating on some of these things that still came up in the show. Like we joke about the car thing. Cars play a really prominent role in the show as well, because of the fact it's such a like quick and easy metaphor for, you know, assumption of power, of masculinity, of freedom, of all these things wrapped into one, specifically for that. As we talk about this idea of timelessness, that is very much a new age idea, not just like the automobile itself, but like, you know, ownership of a vehicle and what that means.
Oh, for sure.
And how that like plays into like, again, these very Western sensibilities, these like specific structures that are coming up due to the like, you know, imperial, pseudo-imperial like themes of like the Western Empire. So I don't know, like the more that I just like turn it around in my head, I'm just like, man, this just like really like rocked.
Yeah, you brought up a really good point about the car, and again, it is a silly sequence, and I did laugh about it, but I agree 100%, 200% about, it's interesting too how the car in itself is like a very masculine symbol, and yet in itself it is a tool being used by the girls at the end as a way of freedom. And you think it a lot too about in our reality, right? The history of when women were first allowed to drive and be able to get a driver's license. And unfortunately, in some places that is not a liberty some women don't have, unfortunately. And, access to a car gives you access to go wherever you want, right? And to be able to drive is like an amazing, like, ability for some people to be able to have, to be autonomous, right? And do what they need to do. You also made, and you also, again, made a really great point around, I think the movie, in summary, the movie is about, like, recovering from trauma, and I guess not quite recovering, but learning how to, like, move past it, and to not let that past, like, continue to haunt you. And I guess to, like, go back in reference to the series, which, again, being mindful that people listening have not seen it, or not everyone has seen it, in a way, like, surmises that whole journey, over, like, I feel like too, like, there should be a swap in the titles, right? The movie is called Adolescence of Utena, whereas I think that is better fitting for the series, which is about these people growing up and enduring all these horrible things as they're maturing and learning about the scariness of adulthood. And then, and then the revolutionary title should be the film, right? Like, where I think they achieved that kind of revolution of, like, achieving maturation and learning how to move past those things. But yeah, the series in the way it ends is kind of like coming down from the high, and still, like, processing what just happened to you. Like, in a weird way, like, as much as it's about these people going through, like, a crazy high school, like some crazy exaggerated high school that doesn't exist in our reality. The ending is, like, a lot of these characters, kind of not quite getting closure, but, like, the signs of that there's something more better for them at the end once they leave the school, right? Like, you're thinking about the school metaphor, like, you're graduating, but you still don't know what's going to happen, right? So it is a little open-ended in that way, but to have very much on an optimistic note, that I think the movie, to your point, Maverick, where you felt like that is, like, kind of the actual conclusion of the whole, like, franchise, has a more definite end of, like, what happens to our couple, right? And yeah. No choo-choo, though. No monkey.
No. Well, just for a second.
There's a cute monkey in the series that is absent, yes.
He gets to be with Nanami for 5 seconds.
In the...
John.
Yeah?
What do you think of all that?
I mean, I don't really have anything to add. They all said everything. I just will say that, yeah, I did really like it. I was a little skeptical at first because I had heard about it being kind of, being a bit out there, with the car scene and all that, and just that it was, I'm not really someone who cares much for surrealism, but then I watched it, and for the most part, it's very straightforward. And then the parts that were more surreal also fit in really well, and it made perfect sense to me. So, hey, I ate it up. I had a good time watching it, and I'll most likely check out the show itself.
You should, because I think you would really like the Utena show itself.
Sure.
Quite a bit. Because it's really dumb.
Goofy ass shit.
It is goofy is the great word. It is goofy as fuck.
Sure.
It's goofy, and then the moments where it's like, hey, let's dial it in a bit, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? Yeah, you made a great point, John, too, about, like, I think, like, you go in and it's like, this is weird. And I think it really, though, immerses you quickly, like, oh, okay, that's what's going on here. This is, like, the language of it being weird, you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, okay, sure.
It's a bizarre premise, and it does like the visuals do kind of just like smack you in the face pretty quickly, where it's just like, oh yeah, here's all these like epic sweeping shots of this gigantic school, but It's all visual metaphor. It's all, these...
It's flexing, too. Like I said, it's just like, hey, check out what we can do. Rotates 17 triangles in front of you.
Yeah, it's that, but it's...
Here's a staircase.
Yes, there's many staircases. But it's, it's showing that, like, these people are, like, so lost. Everyone's just kind of drowned out unless you're at the highest pinnacle of the, sort of social norms and social, how they all feel about each other. But it's good. It's really good. I am enjoying it quite a bit. For sure.
Good. So I don't know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, what are we all giving it on a 5 scale? I don't know why I was gonna say that. It's like I turned into a new podcast for a second. We don't have to do that. I don't know.
I don't think we did that in the past.
We've never done that. I don't know. My brain was just like, all right, now you have to ask them. How many bags of popcorn is it, or whatever the heck that guy said.
It's a 5 bagger, but that has nothing to do with the quality of the film.
Some spilled because of like how wild it is.
Yeah, the car.
It blows you away. Yeah, you threw the bag and it's like, whoa.
I know it's a meme, but genuinely iconic line of, you're pretty stupid if you think you're the only one who can turn into a car.
So it's 5 extra big bags of popcorn, so you can share it with your loved one while you watch it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
All right, Utena close. Listen to the awesome closing theme now. All right, I think we have a pretty fast week for talking about anime here. I feel like we dominated the discussion. So, John, do you want to talk about any anime or, I suppose, manga that you're reading? I know you're usually reading your crazy mangas.
It's so crazy. I'm reading shit that nobody's invented yet.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I've been reading some stuff more than I've been watching. I did watch the last 2 the 2 episodes before the newest episode of Panty and Stocking. Which is kind of funny because I caught up and then the new episode came out that day and then I just didn't watch it for whatever reason. So that's how things go, I guess.
You just got caught up.
Yeah. But those were good. Some good bits, as it were. I'm trying to remember.
I like seeing Inferno Cop.
Yes, there was an extended bit where they just had their Inferno Cop with the serial number filed off, which was pretty funny, and it was a good bit, especially like having Panty and Stocking there just to be like, they're like involved somewhat, but at the same time they're just like, I don't know why we're here. What is this? Just like that's a pretty good bit. The singing episode, the episode where Panty sings her Has-Been Hotel song, it was better than I was expecting it to be. I was kind of prepared to be like, whatever, because just the premise of it just being like she's gonna sing a song about cussing is like, all right, but it was fun. It was cute. Especially like the last bit. And I also very much liked the Knee Socks episode as well. Like that was very cute. Having an episode where they're crossing the streams a bit and being like, hey, like a couple episodes ago we had Stocking and Scanty team up, and this one it's Knee Socks. It's her 666th birthday, and normally she celebrates it with Scanty, but Scanty's not around, so she's very depressed, and so Panty's there, and Panty's like, you know what, it's your birthday, we're gonna go get you dressed up, and we're gonna go party. And it's really cute, just like having, these characters that last season last season 15 years ago or whatever, were trying to kill each other, and now they're, living together, and they're still button heads, but it was just really cute. It was genuinely really cute. I liked it a lot.
Good.
But
yeah,
I could talk the manga now if you want me to.
It's up to you. Do you feel like it? Do you go?
Yeah, I mean, I could keep going. It's just that would be
go right ahead. We just talked for like forever. So
okay,
by all means.
All right. So let's see then. So I forget if I mentioned this before, but have any of you checked out the Metaphor Refantasio manga?
I read the first chapter when it came out.
Oh.
I've been somewhat keeping up with it, mostly in that it comes out once a month and I get around to it, basically. But it's really good. I think it does, obviously, the different mediums of a video game being more interactive and, that incorporating into the storytelling and all that. But I think even if you have played the game, I think reading through the manga is still worth it, because I do like the character interactions quite a bit, so far it's just Will, Stroll, and Hulkenberg, and Neuras just showed up recently, and the most recent chapter was them, fighting Heismei,
Wow.
but it's well written, it's well paced, and I will just say it is honestly worth reading just because the art is both very good, high quality, and very funny, because they are constantly pulling some good ass faces in that manga. And it's very funny to just read through and be able to see those characters. Obviously there's comedy in the Metaphor game, but they turn it up a little bit here, and that is pretty fun, I would say. It's definitely worth a look, in my humble opinion. They haven't changed anything massively, they're not doing any big swerves yet, but who knows.
This time the prince is I don't want to spoil Metaphor Refantasio, I guess, but
yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe maybe the Switch heads will be playing that soon. And this isn't me spoiling it. I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing they're gonna port it to Switch too. And then I'm also all caught up with their. So I looked into the Uma Musume manga, all the different ones that exist.
okay.
And I'm gonna probably hop into Cinderella Grey eventually, cause
It's good.
Yeah, cause it's just legit really good. I know that. But before that, I saw that there was a short comedy manga about Gold Ship, but she's a kindergartner, and it's really good, really good. It's super fucking funny, and it's just got a very good art style, and, it's just goofy, 4-coma type stuff, where, it's just the teacher is walking into a room and Goldship's doing something insane, and she's going, but the stuff that Goldship is doing is always very funny. So, I like it a lot. It's pretty funny how, because I guess to make it somewhat interesting, they were like, okay, we're gonna put Goldship in a kindergarten full of human kids.
She'll kill them all.
Basically, yes. But then they very obviously have to be like, well, we have to have other horse girls show up, so they just keep being like, we're having another swap with another school. We're doing it again. And it's like, oh, okay, Major McQueen is here this week. Oh, there she is. So that way her and Goldship can interact, because they're always interacting. And then there was just another one where they're like, oh, there's a whole nother school that we're doing another swap with, and this one they sent over special week. Oh, there she is. Just It's just really funny, like how like forced it, like they're obviously like playing it up, but it's a good joke how forced it is. So yeah, if you're a big Uma head, I mean, even if you're not even a big Uma head, like if you just know that Gold Ship is the funny horse that does dumb shit, I think you would enjoy it. And then the last thing that I will mention is I'm about halfway through it. Because I'm so fucking, like, Digimon I mean, I'm just, like, monster raising pilled right now. I'm jumping around all kinds of shit. Like, playing Cyber Sleuth, and the Time Stranger demo came out. And then I was like, oh man, I also want to fuck around with Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher again. That's just how my brain is. I don't know. But I'm reading one of the earliest Digimon manga, Digimon Adventure V Tamer, which I don't know if anyone is aware of that one, because it's a very strange manga.
No, is it the little blue one? That's the V one, right? That's Vmon.
Yes.
Is that anything to do with that?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I will try not to go too inside baseball here, but it's okay. You know how the way that I would describe it is, if you know how Yu-Gi-Oh before they started focusing on dual monsters was, where it felt very loose with what was going on, and the characters were kind of just like an alternate version of the ones that you would know if you had just watched the anime. It's kind of similar to that, because it's about Tai, like from Adventure Original, but he has a Vidramon, which is, like, again, if you've watched like season 2, Adventure 02, you know that Vmon has like all the different like armor forms and shit. And then there's like X Vmon and all that. But in this manga, he's got another form that's Vidramon that turns into Arrow Vidramon, which then later turns into Ulforce Vidramon. If you're familiar with stuff that happens in, because like the card game Ulforce Vidramon is a deck that's been around for a really long time. And in a lot of the games, Ulforce Vidramon shows up because he's like one of the Royal Knights, so he shows up a lot more now because people love the Royal Knights, because people love Omnimon, and Omnimon's one of the Royal Knights. But it's just this very strange thing, because it's like, oh yeah, here's like the main character from the first season, and he's got the main dude's Digimon from the second season, but like a different Digivolution line, and they're in the digital world, and they're like trying to like collect crests, but it's not the crests that you remember from season 1, and it's just it's very different. It's very, very weird, but it's still like a cute, action-y story. It's pretty basic shonen stuff, but I like reading through it just to be like, man, this is just this weird like alternate version of Digimon where it definitely feels like it's trying to follow the feeling of the V-Pets a lot more, which is like why it's V-Tamer, V-Mon, all that. Because like in the lore, it's like Tai starts out being like, oh yeah, I got really good at the V-Pet game, and I raised a Digimon that nobody had seen before, and that was Vidramon, and then I got sucked into the digital world because I was so good at playing the game. And instead of, the whole Digidestin thing, which does make it line up a bit more with Digimon World, the PS1 game, because that's kind of how that game was, too. Digimon is just such a weird thing, because it is it's the only like franchise like this that I can think of where so many of the stories are just very like slight adjustments to the same concept, because they just had so many different people doing so many different things. They were like, okay, you could do a manga, we'll do an anime, we'll do like a game, and you'll just kind of base it on the concept of the V-Pets, but then just kind of do what you want. So they have all these things that are very similar but are not one-to-one, and I think that's fascinating.
I'm really curious to see what that new Digimon anime is going to be like.
Yeah, I'm interested for Beat Break. I'm a little worried just because the last one was not great.
I don't think Ghost... I think Ghost was... What was it even called? It was Ghost Story?
Ghost Game.
Ghost Game. That was devastating to me because I thought that main character, Digimon, was really cute, but then, like, nothing fucking happened.
Yeah, no, Gamamon was, like, the partner Digimon for that series was really good. Like, the characters were fun. It's just, yeah, it was...
Indecipherable plot.
It was, you know, everyone says, oh man, why are you complaining about Monster of the Week? You get a new monster every week. But it was like, oh hey, it's Monster of the Week. But after like 7 or 8 weeks, we start to introduce a plot. But then we immediately ignore it for another 7 to 8 weeks and do Monster of the Week. And it's like, what you showed me that. What are you doing? Come back. And then they just never really wrapped it up. It was a mess. It was a huge mess. It was a bummer.
I was really bummed by it. Elvie.
Yeah.
Elvie, you weren't here last time. I want to ask you what you've been watching, but I also want to check in with you. I think I'm like 1 episode behind or so on Secrets of the Silent Witch.
Oh, yeah.
I really like that
I'm
show.
honestly behind it too, to be honest. No, yeah, I think we did talk about last time.
Oh, we did, because I think I watched like 1 or 2 episodes last time.
Okay. No, yeah, I'm on a 3rd yeah, I'm only on like 3 episodes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, damn.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say it's good. So I can come at you from the other end to tell you that it continues to be good. It's a great
I guess I will like
slice of life show.
I wonder if I catch up and then you're behind.
Yeah, again, we'll somehow talk again. But yeah, that's great. I highly recommend catching up on it. I think they have great boys in there. I really like.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, I think they do a good job of like not like. I think I did say this on the first episode. Like they very clearly are not trying to bait too. You know, when it comes to like, is this a romance?
Yeah, no.
You know, like I think they do a good job of like just avoiding that issue. You know, and kind of leaving it up to you. So
yeah, it's good. I'm a little sad that they haven't had more of her coworker from the first episode.
Yes,
he's in like the 3rd or 4th episode, I think, for a little bit. But
I think that's interesting that he so far, you know, they're so far not like
they're not power scaling the sages quite yet.
Yeah. Maybe it'll surprise us later.
They're introducing really interesting women. I will say that they're introducing some really
from the opening, I think
individuals.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, then, so you haven't watched that. I won't say much more. I'll just say it's good. But what have you been watching, Elvie?
I have been watching Dandandan, actually. I'm not sure if any of us are watching the
I've been very confused because I thought that first season was like the most popular thing in the entire universe, and then I did not see a single soul talking about the second season.
You know what happens? You change the theme song.
Oh.
It's over, right? You got... It's not the... It's not... No. Yeah, you change. You get you give the show a normal theme song and not creepy nuts. You know, you get the creepy nuts out, and then it's like, what is
nobody's interested in the normal nuts.
No
All right,
memes.
but listen.
Yeah, Maverick.
we haven't had anybody be all about the fucking Japanese Afro beats. Since they had to go back to Call of the Night season 2.
Mm-hmm. Man, I gotta watch Call of the Night season 2.
But current theme songs and ending are fun. But yeah, it's not.
It's no Dan. We don't got Pikmin.
Yeah, we don't got Pikmin singing here. We don't got. We got whatever's going on when they mix that song. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. It did have like a hot summer. It had a hot summer last year, and it's not. Horse Girls took over this hot summer. Yeah, this time around. So
that's true. That is true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I really do like it so far. I love, and again, who's to say? Like, I feel like I always get scared about when I say, like, I really like this, like, about series with, like, a shonen lane, and then something, like, happens, and, like, this, that's always the worst. Like, I just do like how creative they've been and, like, continue to be goofy about it. I think for a lot of most of the scenarios, it's just still a fun show. Like, my favorite characters, I feel like, are the side characters, because they're just really silly. The anatomical model man, like, stunned. I can't believe a character like this exists, and I'm stunned a character like that hasn't existed for. That is such a funny concept to me, that you have the anatomical model, like, just be sentient like that and just break apart, and it's actually, like, used as, like, a plot device in an insane way, and I think that's really impressive. Yeah, I don't know. I fun show still. I think it's still a fun show, but yeah, you use the weird theme song, and then you lose interest, right? I like it so far. I definitely foresee, based on, like, the manga's progression, because again, for a series like this, I'm like, what's going on? Like, when am I to expect? I don't want to be surprised by nonsense. I do wonder if, like, it's gonna reach a weird, like, point that every shonen series seems to have. Every modern show seems to have this issue where, like, there's too many fucking characters. Let's
just start killing them.
Adding characters.
Also, is usually
yeah,
the
like,
solution.
yeah. Yeah, because, like, the core, like, I think strength of the series, that what everyone liked about is, yeah, the cute romantic dynamic between Momo and, Okuru, the two main characters. And we already have, like, a love square going on. And again, it's a teenage show, and, like, I think there's been really good, like, media, like, criticism over the show over, like, this is, like, a weird, interesting, like, exploration to, like, I guess, of, like, awkward teenage love in an absurd way with incorporating aliens and all that. But looking ahead, I'm like, oh, wow, they're gonna keep adding characters, huh? I'm like, what is so, I don't know, but, like, yeah, like, so for the premise, too, of, like, the different, like, scenarios with the monsters and aliens, I don't know, it's just fun. Like, I think it's still pretty consistent with, like, keeping my interest intrigued generally, but I'm already seeing, like, that. What's going on here? We're making this a little more convoluted than it needs to be. So, as you were saying,
no, it's fine. My one of my girlfriends read the manga, really likes the manga, and said that there's really only one part that's, like, not great going forward, and then the rest of it is still pretty consistently good. When I say not great, I mean, like, something like, the reason I was put off from Dandandan was the very first chapter, where they, like, lean into weird, like, assault stuff, right? And then it's like, apparently they do that, like one more jokes, time.
Yeah.
Inexplicably, at, like, chapter 148 or something like that, and then never again.
Yeah, it's, like, annotated, like, watch out. Yeah, no, for sure. There is also a very valid criticism, too, over, like, the fan service of the show, where, like, I feel like that's not like, at least, like, this season, like, I barely see it, but then there are still, like, weird moments where it's like, why was it, and again, it's depicted as a bad thing, like, again, the whole thing around, like, oh, wow, aliens probing you and all that, like, and, like, oh, they're gonna do something bad to her, but it's like, it's like not shot, like, again, it's animation, but it's, like, framed composition in a way that, like, is kind of, like, sensationalizing it, that, it's not sexy at all. It's not, I don't think it's framed as, like, appealing fan service at all, but it's still, like, sensationalized in a way that is not great. This is, like, a teenage girl, and it seems like this is happening, like, a lot, where more often than not, she is not a damsel, right? And she is, like, she's very, and that's awesome. But for sure, like, thinking about the first episode again, which was, like, kind of the point of, like, contention for a lot of people, understandably, with, like, how long it, like, just lingered on that sequence, it's like, that's a little gross. You didn't need to, it didn't need to be depicted that way. And I think I know about the character you're talking about, which is, like, an alien girl or something, and they kind of lead into that joke. I think that's what that specifically is, right?
Probably.
So, yeah. Yeah, possibly. So, yeah. So it does thread that line, but I feel like so far would, like, and the way season 1 ended is like, why did it end that way? That's, like, fucked up. Like, why did it end that way? But yeah, with season 2 so far, I think it's like, I think kind of been just consistent, I would say, not better or not worse. I think it's just been consistent with like keeping my interest and just like in the character dynamics, like again, like a nice, like quirky, weird found family, cast of characters. That they're clearly setting up as a thing, right? So.
Well, I hope it continues to live up to your hopes and dreams. Maverick, I wanted to go to you, but I know that you said you literally, I say only, but you only watched Utena.
That's what ate up my time.
It's the whole fucking thing. It's fine. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean... Yeah, I don't have much else.
That's A-okay. I just wanted to do a check-in just in case so I don't leave you out.
No, of course.
So the only thing that I've really been watching, other than the Witch show, is Watanare. There's no freaking way I'll be your lover unless... continues to be truly beautiful, fantastic romance show. I love it. I know I have my biases towards polyamory and lesbianism, but it's really good. It's really engaging. It's really funny. It's like an even more down-to-earth version of 100 Girlfriends, where it has a level of absurdity to it, but within that absurdity, there is just this focus on the actual way that people talk to each other, even if they're crazy, even like if it's crazy, but just like, I don't know, I just love it. It's so amped up to 11, but at the same time, it feels so real compared to a lot of romance stuff that I've watched. And I think it all comes down to one thing. The main character has a very vivid personality. And I think that's something that romance shows are really bad at a lot of the time. Especially when you look at something like, I don't just want to say nisekoi because I've been saying nisekoi to everything when I talk about romance anime all the time for like years and years on the show. But like genuinely, like something like that, you look at that and it's like, the guy is a guy. Like you can't even name a personality trait that he has. And I think that happens a lot in shows like these. This is why I think like a show like Aharen works really well for romance stuff, because it's like both of these people are insane. They're both completely insane. And you get to see how they interact with each other. And I think it works really well here because it's just a series of insane women, but the main character is more insane than any of them. Like, just the way that this main character girl is obsessed with every girl who's hitting on her being her friend instead, and showing them how being friends is actually the same. Like, just there's something about the way like a girl will like hit on her crazy style and be like, do you want to touch my boobs or something? And she'll be like, wow, being friends is great. And like, I just, it's great. We need more fail gamer girl protagonists who aren't just like the Watamote girl. Because like, this is inspiring. Just the way that she just is. There's something about the way like she'll talk to like one of the girls, and the girls will be like, oh, I spend all my money on making sure that my siblings could go to this school trip and all this stuff or whatever. And then she just responds with something like, haha, that's funny. I just spend all my money on games. It's like, great. It's so real. I love it. I just, there's something about her. She's so fucked up. I really like this show. I highly recommend it to anyone out there who likes romance shows. I think it's very, very charming. But yeah, that's literally all I've been watching. It's been great on YouTube, just free, right there. Also, pretty good, really good subs, actually, I would say, which is surprising to me. I did want to ask you about this, John. You just added it to the list. You watched all Pokemon Concierge.
I'm sorry, I forgot that I did until just now. But yes, I did watch the new
I remember
of Pokemon Concierge.
You were saying it wasn't anything crazy. I remember.
It was just okay. It was I don't know, because it was still good, but it didn't hit as hard as the first half did. is basically just like, oh, the like surfer dude's uncle shows up on the island for a vacation, and it's secretly because he wants to abandon his Celio there. Like, he just wants to leave it on the island, which, like, they're treating it like he's doing, like, this incredibly horrific thing, but it's like, I don't know. That's like, it may be a little shitty because it loves him, but also, like, I don't know, it's living on the fucking tropical paradise that it's gonna have fun forever on, you know, whatever. But then they're just like, all right, you know what? How about we just give you a job so you have to live on this island now with your seal? And so they just do that, and then the rest of the episodes are mostly about them training the uncle.
That's some real wish fulfillment for the job market, I gotta say.
For real, yeah. And then the last episode was the best one because the main girl Haru, her like ex-boyfriend shows up. So they have this like awkward sort of like, oh man, you know, he's just there to be on vacation with his Arcanine. And so they have this, you know, awkward kind of like, is this gonna spark something kind of deal going? And yeah, I think they did a good job having that go where it went, and, you know, having the character interactions and having it feel human and feel like something that felt natural for reality and also for the Pokemon world. Like, that is the thing that I really liked about Pokemon Concierge, is that I thought that the first half of it did a really good job of making it feel like real people existing in the world of Pokemon. And I
think Pikachu autism. It was,
yes, they did.
It was a lot.
It felt real because it's just like, you know, like I think about having pets and how some pets are just fucking weird. Like, one of my roommate's cats, like, I mean, I can't say for 100% sure, because it's not, I don't know if there's a test for it, but little guy probably has something like that, because I just remember, you know, he didn't like getting, like, pet in certain specific places, and, you know, sometimes he would want to be pet, and then for 1 second, and then another second he's flipping out, and he's, like, walking all weird and shit, and I'm just like, dude, like, I just want to, I don't want to bug you. I don't want to make you feel bad. So, you know, we had to figure out like what made him feel okay. And, you know, it was a bit of a struggle because, you know, you can't just ask. But now he's like way happier because just like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, he doesn't like being pet here. You know, if he starts, you know, if his ears start perking up this way, that means he's done being pet. You know, it's just like, yeah, like that feels real. So having a Pokemon that has different needs feels nice instead of just, this is my Pikachu, it knows Thunderbolt. Which, you know, they're not going to be able to incorporate that into the games because that's what the games are. The games are, this is my Pikachu, it knows Thunderbolt, but the outside, you know, the alternate stories, the stuff like Pokemon Concierge and the like, can
where does that Thunderbolt take them?
Where does it take them? To the island. And it's nice there. And I thought that last episode did a good job of that sort of stuff, but the rest of the season, I guess it's actually not a new season. It's like the second half of the first season is what they said, which...
Oh, really?
Okay.
So this is separate from the second season they announced?
I'm not sure. Like,
I guess they didn't really said a second season, they just said there would be more.
I guess so, yeah, because I was fully, you know, going into this being like, oh yeah, new season. And then I saw all the listings were just, oh, this is season 1, part 2. I was like, okay.
Netflix is a bane on society.
It really is. But I still liked it. I would still recommend it, especially, you know, if you're gonna just end up watching like if you haven't watched the first half, if you watch all of it at once, it's probably, it goes down smoother, I would say. But I mean, they haven't confirmed any more of that. I don't know if they're just going to be like, oh, we got Aardman now, so fuck y'all.
I'm fucking hyped for that. I know I have my biases, but like, holy shit.
Don't get me wrong. I want to watch that too, but it would just be really funny if they were like, yeah, actually, we were going to keep doing more Pokemon Concierge, but now we have Aardman, so fuck you guys. We got we got Shaun the Sheep, but it's Wooloo this time. I wonder how long that they've had this cooking, because now I'm just imagining that they explicitly like made.
I mean, it's
Galar.
2027, so.
I think so, but I just more specifically mean like, do you think they were like, oh, we got something going with? Oh,
we made Britain, and you're like, come on, please, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like we made a sheep Pokemon for you guys.
Obstagoon looks like a freak you people would like, right?
Yeah. You, like I'm just imagining like one of the like higher ups at Aardman just being like, oh, I've always loved Farfetch, and they were just like, write that down. But
no,
it's decent.
I've always loved Farfetch.
They saw Mousehold, and that was the clincher. They were like, oh, someone who loves cheese as much as us.
That's right. Like I said, that's going to be really good, but I would also still love more of this for sure eventually. But if they don't, I'm not going to be too beat up about it. But I would also be happy to see more.
All right. I'll probably still check it out at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They made a little video for the ending theme with Tataru Yamashita, so that was fun.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Mm-hmm.
Elvie, I have devastating news.
Yeah.
You were watching Reborn as a Vending Machine. I Wandered to the Dungeon dubbed, right?
That's correct. Yep.
And so the iconic Boxo voice?
Yes.
Replaced him with a generic man. In the second season.
No!
I just remembered that was something we watched.
Oh my god!
We watched one episode. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Everyone else sounds the same, and they just got a new guy for him.
The same.
It ruins the whole vibe.
Oh my god!
I think the way my friend put it when we were watching is he said he feels sinister now because he doesn't sound like completely head empty like he does all the time.
Oh,
right? He just sounds evil.
Wow.
It's devastating. I was really upset. I looked it up and I saw people were raging everywhere. I found r/anime threads. I found light novel subreddit threads. They were all crying.
Mm-hmm.
It's really disappointing. But what isn't disappointing is City, I assume, which I think you've been watching.
Yeah, still good.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. To fun. That's as much as I can say about it. I do like how it's like visual direction seems to be very intentionally like a newspaper comic. I don't know, somebody like the idea of like a newspaper comic kind of being adapted into an animation, and I don't know, I do appreciate the very different approach compared to just emulating the style choices like in Nichijou,
I really need to catch up on it, but we have like a nightmare rotation of who we need specifically across time zones to all watch City as a group.
I also like, again, like going into it with not much familiarity with the manga, right? Like I didn't realize it had like this sort of like continuity that that they're also a bit of a Nichijou, but like they actually take it a little more seriously, and I think that makes like a very interesting like. The ecosystem of all the characters that are in one way like connected to each other because they are in the same place, right? And I think that's pretty neat, and how it all comes together.
All right. Well, then that is we did it. We succeeded. A show that's only an hour and a half long. Perfect.
Yay!
All right. We were, discussing what we were going to watch next. We had a couple options in the patron pick folder, but I decided that an evil option for what we could watch next would be to technically do a patron pick again by watching more Hellgirl.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween. Getting you in the mood for the season. But yeah, we're going to watch Hellgirl season 1. I recommend the dub because it was really funny the first time.
It was.
The amount that girl said shit was astounding. We're going to watch episodes 14 through 26 of the first season, which is the rest of the first season, I believe. I think the second season is called like 2 Mirrors. The third one's called like 3 something. And then the fourth one's like 4 Twilight. I don't know what's going on over there. But that's what we're watching. Episodes 14 through 26 of Hellgirl. Find it out there somewhere. I'm sure you can find it. It's probably pretty easy. It's probably on YouTube even, if I had to guess.
I think it's on Prime Video from... Oh, wait, no. It says
really?
No, it says expired rights. Okay.
Yeah, I bet you can just fucking find it on YouTube, or it's going to be on, like, Tubi, or inexplicably you'll be like... Yeah, if you open Pluto TV, you can find Hellgirl for some reason.
Just because... because .moe doesn't work anymore. Damn, that's fucked up.
Oh,
all right.
They're taking everything from us.
But yeah, they really have. This is fucked.
Well, that's sad. But yeah, check that out. You have a month, maybe more, depending on how the situation develops for any of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can make it a surprise new season.
Yeah.
Next anime season.
Oh my gosh! I it doesn't matter because people listening will just hear this. But I did forget I wanted to go through your news hits, Elvie.
Yeah,
real quick.
sure. Yeah, if you wanted to.
Just
go
real
through,
quick.
yeah.
So first of all, in relation to John talking about Uma Musume, we did have the sad death of Haru Urara, who is the famous horse who loses. Not to be rude to the horse, but kind of lost a lot.
On her deathbed.
She was 29 years old, which is surprising because some of those horses, I was looking up like Ogre Cap's like 40 or something. It's crazy.
Is Ogre Cap still alive?
No, but like when they died.
I was gonna say, okay.
Yeah. They were like 40 something, and I was like,
no,
damn.
I just looked it up. No, Ogre Cap was 25.
Oh, really? Okay. What horse was I looking up who was fucking 40? There was the one I was like, holy shit.
Standard age is about 29, 30
Yeah.
years.
Okay, I wonder which one it was. Well, either way, old ass horse. I saw people posting that video clip from Jeopardy from 2003 where they were talking about her, which I thought was really funny. Yeah, R.I.P. to the horse. I guess it got to eat a lot of food that people were buying it online. I kept seeing people buy that horse grass.
Yeah, that was the nice thing because like when I guess like the farm that she was living on went through financial troubles multiple times and at one point was going to get shut down. So there was a crowdfunding campaign to keep it open like a while back. And then more recently, once Uma Musume launched outside of Japan, people really liked Haru and then found out that you could donate to buy her grass. And then a lot of people bought that farm grass. So it wasn't just for her because there's like other horses there. And apparently like Haru like got really close with one of the other horses there for a while before she passed. So she got to eat a shit ton of grass and had a girlfriend and got to live comfortably for her final days, and a lot more people loved her before she passed. So it's genuinely sweet.
Also genuinely sweet, Japan's prime minister has resigned.
Again! Another one!
This was just a classical thing of just like, I think it's just because they did really bad in the election. That's the Lib Dems in Japan. If you didn't know, the primary party. It was pretty dire. I was seeing people talk about it of just like, Susio, the animator for Trigger stuff, got in trouble recently because he was reposting and saying insane things related to the like alt-right equivalent in Japan, that's sort of risen, that are like super insane and considered insane by a lot of people, and they won a lot of seats for some reason. They won like 3 or 4 or 5 seats or something, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but one of those things where it's like they should have 0 probably.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty bad out there. But it is funny that Japan Prime Minister continues to be a punished individual. And then last we have that Good Smile has stopped U.S. shipping, which is scary. I think a lot of places have. I've known a couple people who had pre-orders for some upcoming things that they just got an email going, we don't know. Because that's sort of been the situation, right? It's just been, we don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So that's continuing. Good Smile is crazy, though, because I've seen that with a couple of them. What they've been doing, some of the stores, is it feels like they shipped over a ton of stuff really fast. Honkai Star Rail is an example where they opened an Amazon store that comes directly from Amazon to avoid the type of shipping that like Arknights has, where Arknights will be like, yep, right, here's the tariff rate you have to pay or whatever, you know. I've seen people be like, yeah, $99 shipping on like $25 worth of stuff. Pretty dire.
Yeah, I know, like, a big thing also, like, again, I don't know if Good Smell's in a position to do it, or, again, how they do, but you were saying they've done something, they've done weird strategies like that for other reasons. But normally, too, they try to figure out, like, their different regional, like, connections to, like, see, like, oh, if we're technically shipping from this place, we wouldn't have to deal, you know, kind of thing. But again, that's a risky move that, as a consumer, that you leave that up to them to figure out. But a lot of places have been kind of doing that already, so trying to avoid the whole, like, implications of those things. I'm someone who, like, again, runs a small business. I table at cons and all that, and sell things online. I do have, like, international customers, and I'm like, oh, I think I got to turn that option off, unfortunately, because, like, I did get, like, a weird... so I use Pirate Ship. Shout out to Pirate Ship. We're not sponsored by... We don't have sponsors. We don't got... But shout out to Pirate Ship. If you're someone who sells things in bulk all the time, or has to, like, sell things a lot, weatherize business, or you just do that. You know, they're great. You just if you got a thermal printer at home, don't gotta step into the hell that is a post office to do it there and deal with, like, sometimes incompetent, unfortunately, like, you know, workers there, not, like, I don't know, get upset at you for selling a lot, you know, shipping a lot of things, or overpricing you. If you have a scale or, like, a thermal printer home, you can just use Pirate Ship and pay through there, because they're great, because they will refund you the rate if you accidentally overpaid and all that automatically as soon as possible, and I appreciate that. They also seem to get lower rates compared to, like, if you go direct to some providers like UPS or United States Post Office. But to get to the point, I did ship something to the UK recently, and I got, like, a whole chargeback, like, charging me, like, $80 more just for shipping that. I'm like, what is this? And I don't know. I actually don't know what's going on with it. I actually don't know in regards to the specifics between the US and the UK. But I don't want to deal with that anymore. So... So sadly, I might have to consider. I don't know what's going on there, but I was just like, that has never happened before. So that very weird.
It seems like just endless flux hell right now. I saw, like, what they had that thing where it's like, as long as it's under $800, it's exempt, and then it's like, no, never mind.
The de minimis thing. Yeah, which, again, like, if you're reading that as, like, a regular person, you're not going to be, like, thinking about that. You know, it's not purposely confusing, but it is confusing the way this whole administration is, because they're stupid. So, you know, that's just really what it is. They just don't know what they're doing, and it's just, it's not good for everyone involved right now. So I would just, you know, if you're someone who's, like, pre-ordering stuff overseas, just be very careful, you know, because you don't want to be accidentally, like, getting this invoice that's like, well, now you're responsible for paying this additional
terrifying me is I've seen
just be careful.
Some people get, like, their order, and then it's like it's going through normally, and then all of a sudden they get hit with, like, a bank charge that's insane.
Yeah, it's like, what
it's like, hey, no.
Like, you know, Good Smell, all that. Read their most recent updates over, like, how they're handling this. So yeah, just stay safe out there. And use a credit card. Don't use a credit card where you can get a refund and are a little more safer with that sort of thing.
Did you see that Bolsonaro got condemned?
Thank God.
Sent to
27
jail.
years.
Now we just need to get Hellgirl on the line.
Yeah.
If we can get him to get revenge on someone, and then. All right, that's everything then. Now for real. Okay, yeah. Watch Hellgirl, 14 to 26. Okay, what do I have to do? Anything else, John? Help me. What else do we do?
Nah, you're good. You're good.
Everything's good? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you ever want to send in questions or opinions, you can go to podcasts at gamesline.net. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you can send in something. If you want to get episodes of this show 1 week early, go to patreon.com/gamesline. $3 gets you everything 1 week early. Gosh, if you want to send in, if you're listening right now, if you want to send in Patreon recommendations for shows to watch, so we don't just watch Hellgirl again, I'm just saying, you can send them in and we'll pick them from a list.
Yes, please. We need to refill it. We're running low.
We have watched 65 fucking things, which is a lot.
That is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll keep going.
We're not stopping.
We can do this now. Our theme song is by Kirsten Carey. It can be overfound at kircarey.bsky.social on Blue Sky. That's everything. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Maverick, for watching all of Utena, even though that wasn't necessarily needed. But it kind of was, also.
I needed it.
But we'll see everyone next time on another episode of Unloaded Railworks. Bye.